We are back in England for FM22 and our one club story. We are taking on our most local side in the lowest playable league, and our aim is to take them to the very top. Yes, hello and welcome to episode 1 of this FM22 one club story, the Tudor Times, with me, Daniel. We are here with Hemel Hempstead, my most local side in the lowest playable league of the English divisions. They're semi-professional, they've got chaos going on off the pitch this season, and we are going to try and take them to the very top. There's a lot to get through today, but if you're looking forward to the series, please do chuck a thumbs up on the video. Subscribe down below and turn that notification bell on for daily FM22 content. Our first episode of The Head Coach came out last night. You can see that up in the eye above. And please do follow us on Twitch, where we're going to have daily live streams throughout the beta with Derby County, and they will start tonight at 6 PM. But daily episodes throughout the beta from both of these long-term stories, and I can't wait to get going. We take the job on a one-year deal, £675 a week. We're replacing Mark Jones, who in real life has just taken over from a manager who was sacked from the start of the season. So we've had 2 managers already in real life. We're the third now. Hemel Hempstead are in disarray. They've had an awful start in real life. They've had a load of players going in and out, particularly when the new manager came in. And based on Mark Jones being here in-game, I'm guessing a few of those changes, personnel-wise, will have happened already. In this save, the chairman wants to leave already, which means we could have takeovers very early on. There is an awful lot for us to ponder here, and we've got one hell of a job on our hands. I can't wait to do it though. We have got previous with Hemel Hempstead on the channel. It didn't go particularly well. We're hoping we can do better this time with what is a pretty good local club. So let's go ahead and get through the introductory items. Hopefully there's going to be some positives in here. And I've got one immediately. Former Luton Town legend Matty Spring is the assistant manager at the club still. So his attributes: his judgment's not bad. His man management leaves a lot to be desired. So I think I'm going to have to do most of that. But a very good player regardless, and I'm sure he'll be able to help me out. We're expected to finish 13th, just in the top of the bottom half. A lot better than they're doing at the moment, so hopefully we'll be able to live up to that. And fingers crossed, that means the few former EFL stars that are in this squad at the moment will be rated pretty well here. The club's got a 1-star reputation, a fierce rivalry with St Albans City, who of course are in the same division, a wage budget of £6,500, just over 3,000 capacity at Vauxhall Road, a ground I try and get to at least once a season, a very nice place to watch football. Decent training facilities again, just below average, but poor youth facilities and a basic youth recruitment. I think it might be a while before we have youth intake stars to worry about here. Let's move on to the next one. 4-2-3-1 being suggested, but a few familiar names, and actually I don't think the most recent couple of transfers are here, because Jacques Macoma just joined and Gleason just left the club. But they're still here. I guess it matches with the start of the season, so no problem on that front. Sam Manson highlighted as the key player and captain, loads of appearances in the EFL. The likes of Samir Carruthers, plenty of experience too. I think there's going to be some decent players to work with. So let's skip ahead and look at our club culture items. No! They want to finish in the playoffs as a minimum this season, when they've got the 13th best squad. Oh, we're going to get sacked with Hemel again. It was the same problem we encountered in the head coach a few years ago. A club that has got such high expectations and not the facilities, the squad, the off-the-pitch stuff to match it. That's insane. But maybe the chairman will sell the club and we'll get a bit of investment. We've got to play attacking football, reach the 4th qualifying round of the FA Cup. Let's go and get into our first day, and I feel like I'm already on the back foot. So for those of you that haven't been here before, just to get a few ground rules out the way, we cannot use the player search or staff search screens. We have to find players organically, whether that's players in the league. I'm hoping the data hub will be able to help us identify players in that way, whether it's players that we already know, we find through transfer rumours we play against, or that of course come from our scouts or director of football. But by the looks of things, if FM thinks they've got the 13th best squad in the league and we've got to try and get in the playoffs, I think it's going to be a busy first window, isn't it? And I'm guessing the staffing team won't be there to meet it. But we're going to be able to have a look at the staff and players today, get an introduction to all of the people we're going to be working with, and then how many of them we're going to need to replace before the start of the season in 5 weeks' time. So I would imagine most players are in the last year of their contract. there's not really much else going on other than, and in fact there's some really good star ratings there. Let's go and have a look at the club vision items. I wish I could bring it down, but why do they expect the playoffs? I don't understand that. Let's go and have a look at the staff and start meeting people. Maybe it will give us an idea why we're expected to finish so high. Again, no recruitment team. Just like the head coach yesterday and our first job there. Let's have a look at the rest of the team that are already in place though. So the physio is Miles Mitchell-Coop on a month-to-month contract. Not a very good physiotherapy rating, I'm afraid, but will do a job for us now. At least we've got someone in post. That's a start. Let's have a look at Renee Marsh-Brown. Someone we've interviewed on the podcast, actually. Let's have a look at him. A couple of decent attributes coaching-wise, but certainly not standout just yet. Scott Daly is the fitness coach and has a 2 coaching attribute for fitness. Dimitri Karin, now he should be good, the keeper coach, and he is pretty good. He was a former Luton one for years. You can see down there, 9 years he had at Luton Town as goalkeeping coach. Former career at Celtic and Chelsea as a player. Really good footballer. Matty Spring we've already looked at, and we're the only other one left. So, unrealistic expectations, a half-filled coaching and recruitment team. The squad's going to have to save us here, or we could be in big trouble very early on. Let's start with the development centre. Anyone we might be able to promote? No, in fact, we don't even have a youth squad. So no playable players outside the first team. Probably means we won't get youth intakes initially. Now let's have a look at the senior squad. Cross your fingers, cross everything, because we need some miracles here. Well, the first thing that's very evident is the star players in midfield, who I expected to be the stars, are the stars. In terms of the rest of the team, it's sort of an average 2.5, 3-star run-of-the-mill. I think immediately looking at this, I'm saying we might need a striker, because the only decent one we've got is on non-contract terms. And I'm presuming that's a relation to Gifton Noel Williams. Up front there, Dejon, the 21-year-old. Goalkeeper's pretty average. I think they've just loaned one in real life. And at the back, there's 1-star centre-half. So let's go and meet them all quickly. We'll get through the 3 keepers first. Nick Hayes, I believe, is the goalkeeper that's in the middle of our thumbnail. So let's have a look at him. He is indeed 2.5-star ability. Only 22 years of age. And do you know what? He's pretty solid. Technically, he's a very good keeper at this level. He's let down a little bit mentally, particularly positioning, particularly decision making. And he's not the most agile, but it's a decent base to work with. I can understand why he might be rated pretty decently. Let's have a look at the other one, which is Lawrence Bilbo. 2.5-star ability again, slightly bigger potential, but on non-contract terms. And he's more the opposite. He's not really got all the technical attributes, but mentally he's a little bit better, and he's very agile in comparison to Nick Hayes. So, 2 different styles of keeper. I'd probably just edge Hayes, to be honest. And then a third young one, Louis Patchin, is, I tell you what, kid, I'm sorry if you're watching, but you can go straight to the under-18s, because you're not going to get any football this year, and we'll be very much trying to loan you out. So this is the big contrast to the head coach. We're looking at this squad and thinking we need to take recruitment action quickly. We do everything here. Let's have a look at the right backs. So the only 2 listed as right backs are Gus Scott Morris, who is on the transfer list. 2-star ability, 3-star potential. Do you know what? He's okay physically, and the key attributes aren't disastrous. He's not going to be able to go forward and get crosses in or anything on that ilk, but he's okay as a squad player. I've got bigger priorities than to replace him, but he is on quite a big wage for the ability he's got, so maybe that's why he's on the transfer list. Certainly not disastrous as a backup by any means. Chris Paul is the other one listed as a right back by our assistant. Is a natural right back, former under-21 international for Northern Ireland, came through at Spurs and QPR. Not bad. I don't know if it's a good enough player to get us to the playoffs, but a solid player again at this level. I guess ideally, if we had spaces left and there aren't many other gaps in the squad, he'll become the backup, we'll get a right back, and then he can be on the bench and be a versatile option. But great natural fitness, which is very important at this level with the games thick and fast. The only letdown for me is his worst key attribute is positioning. And you know me and defensive positioning. Anyone who's been on this channel a while knows how important that attribute is to me. Let's move over to the left-hand side, where we've only got 1 player rated as a natural left-back. 2-star ability but massive potential is Jack Williams. Decent tackler, okay positioning. The big problem is stamina, no ability going forward, but an okay personality and an okay player. Again, I'd probably be happy to keep them as a squad footballer, but I don't really want them to be my first choice left back. So I'm hoping one of these might be able to play there. Let's move on to the centre halves where things are looking a little bit more promising. We've got Cole Kopekwa, who is very good. 4-star ability, cracking core attributes. Okay, a few slight deficits in terms of mental attributes, but good positioning, very good in the air, which if we're reliant on set pieces could be crucial. Quick, good tackler, decent positioning. We can't ask for a huge amount more than that. In terms of his former history, he's played for some good clubs, played a lot of EFL football as well. I think we've got our first superstar of the series there. Let's move on to James Kalowski, who is 2.5-star ability, 26 years of age. Thought I recognised the name from St Albans. Again, relatively quick, not as good in the air, not good mentally. Probably a backup centre-half again, if we're being honest. I think we're starting to see exactly where we need to improve. And in terms of best positions, that's all the defenders we've got, according to the assistant manager. So I'm hoping Matty Spring's judgment is poor, or we're in a bit of trouble here. Looking at that, the only one I'd be very happy to start this season is Kopekwa at centre-half. Chris Paul's not a disaster at right-back, but again, we're 2 defenders short of a starting 11. Let's have a look at Aaron Simpson, who is a right-back. Okay, he's a bit more of an all-rounder, so quicker, a bit better going forward, not quite as good defensively. Again, the positioning slightly off. I mean, I'm looking at the moment and thinking he's going to be the left-back to start with if we can't get anyone in. But with Chris Paul as well, it's a common problem, isn't it, this year? Lots of right-backs and not many left-backs, but he's got National League experience, he's a good footballer. Played 12 games for Sutton in their promotion-winning season. So I think we have to give him a bit of credit. I think he'll be involved quite a lot, but the squad doesn't seem particularly balanced, which may be why there's been a manager change already in real life. Let's move on to midfield, though, and the area where I start to get very excited about what I can build around, because there are now what I think are 4 very good central midfielders here. And I don't know whether we're going to be able to accommodate them all, whether we have to let one go, and whether it's going to work as a tactic with the rest of the squad, because we saw last year's one club save with Bangor, the Builder Nation. We might be going narrow diamond again at the moment. Let's start with Stephen Gleason, 32 years of age, loads of experience. Played for Solihull, Aberdeen, Ipswich, Birmingham, MK Dons, over 300 league appearances. Losing it a little bit physically, but very good elsewhere. Natural in the holding role and centre mid. So again, could accommodate a diamond or a midfield 3. And he's got 4 caps for Ireland. I mean, he's an international footballer of times gone by. Very good player. He's just left the club in real life, but we are going to utilise him heavily in the first season of this save. Let's move on to the next one. Another very well-known name. Again, very well-known from MK Dons in years gone by. Samir Carruthers. How many did he play for them in the end? 122 league appearances. He's the opposite, really. Centre mid who can play as a number 10. Former Ireland under-21 international. Maybe not rated quite as well, but still a very good player at this level. Creative, better on the ball than he is defensively. Again, not the best physically, though. So I'm wondering if we do play a diamond, for example, are we then going to be able to keep them all fit, play 3 games a week with the same tactic? Or do we play 3 and just accept one will have to have a rest each week? I think that may be what we're leaning towards, looking at the physicality of those 2. However, we've got a much younger one in Henry Ochieng. 4-star ability, 5-star potential holding midfielder. Hopes are high. Ability is exceptional. Comes from the Watford Academy. What a player. Kenyan under-20 international, only on 250 quid a week. Star player. Has to be in the team, has to be the holding midfielder. Defensive midfielder on defence, the perfect anchor for what is a pretty shaky defence. Now I'm excited. That's why we're predicted to get in the playoffs by our chairman. He's seen the quality in that guy. Kyle Ajayi is a younger one, 20 years of age. 2-star ability, 4.5 potential. Not the best, I was going to say, but a younger player who might be able to help the squad physically, but 5 natural fitness, 6 stamina, and 4 for off the ball. 3 anticipation. I mean, all the attributes I'm looking for aren't really there. And unfortunately, we probably haven't got much of a place for him other than as an emergency backup, or maybe to be loaned out. He's already on the loan list here. He has got a great long shot rating though. And we all know how valuable that can be at this level with the poorer goalkeepers at the bottom tier. Let's move on to Sam Manson, who should be the best player at the club. Loads of EFL games again, and only just dropped down in the last year or two. Was formerly at Southend, Scunthorpe, Walsall for over 100 appearances, and he's very good. Box to box, much better physically, stamina 12, natural fitness 14. Determined, got a fairly professional personality, could lead the mentoring groups, is the skipper already at the club, and again, takes pride of place in the thumbnail. I'm happy with that, because we've got a couple of technical midfielders, so maybe Gleason and Carruthers just rotate, Manson plays alongside them, and Reggie Young as the holding player, because that allows us to then either play with a front two in a diamond, or with two wide men and a striker. Manson is a brilliant player, he will definitely be first choice. So, central midfield is the strength in this team, there's no doubt in that. Let's have a quick look at the other centre mid, which is Dominic Griffiths, 22 years of age, 2.5 ability, 3.5 potential. Of course, as we're going along, let me know what tactic you think we should play based on what you've seen here. I guess it will depend largely on the wingers and strikers, won't it? But again, Griffiths, okay technically, and he's actually a lot better physically as well. Decent pace, 13 fitness, 13 stamina. So I'm hoping maybe one of those we can rely on to be fit and be available as an emergency backup if we need him. Signed a contract as a fringe player, not expecting loads of football. That could be a positive. Now, we've got a couple of decent wingers here. James Dobson is the first one, 29-year-old left winger. Natural on both sides. Not the quickest, but technically very good. I don't think we can leave him out based on what we've got elsewhere, because with Capecqua, with some of the midfielders who are good engines, are good physical specimens, having someone like Dobson who can put the ball on a sixpence is crucial. And if we can get 4 or 5 cheap goals from free kicks, could be a nice way to nick a couple of games. So as it stands, he'd probably be a starter, and that edges me more towards the 4-3-3. And if Marsh Brown on the right hand side is just as good, 3.5 star ability, 4.5 potential. Of course, all of the Marsh Brown family have made it as footballers, and Renane is on the coaching staff. So let's have a look at him. Oh, he's pretty good. He's a very different type of winger. Probably a traditional young winger at this level. Very quick. Got good natural fitness, which is a massive core attribute as well, because it means he can play the 2 games a week. Determination. Not bad off the ball. And pretty decent technically, it has to be said. 10 for passing, 9 technique and crossing, 8 for dribbling and first touch. And even an okay finisher. So I can see him being a star at this level. Played for Dartford the year before. I think Marsh Brown will be a starter too. So the wingers are good, and I can see why maybe this club's tipped for a playoff push. But we need a couple of defenders, and unless we're getting some positives towards the end here, we're probably going to need a striker. Let's look at the other wingers first though. Josh Castilloni is a 2.5 star ability player. He's basically a less good version of Marsh Brown attribute-wise. Slightly less quick, just 1 or 2 short on most of the technical points, and very similar mentally. So perfect backup, really. Played loads of games for Royston and has moved over to Hemel. There's a few players from Hemel in years gone by that have gone the other way, so we might have to have a little look at them. And of course, we're very local to my club, Luton Town. There's a past tradition of players going from Luton and Watford and Stevenage to Hemel Hempstead and St Albans. So I'd like to see if we can get a couple of their youngsters on loan as well. Maybe even get an affiliation. The other one listed as a winger by Matty Spring is Alfie Cerulli. 2.5 star ability, 5 star potential. It's a very young squad. In fact, bar Gleason, who's actually left the club in real life now, no one's in their 30s. So Cerulli is 20 years of age. He's not a winger, he's a striker. He can't finish. I don't like strikers that can't finish. However, he's quick, he's deceptively good in the air, and he's good on the ball with a first touch and dribble. So I think he could be a utility wide man, and maybe the 4th emergency backup striker or 3rd choice if we're playing with one up front. He's on a big wage though, so to be honest, I think our initial thing will be to try and loan him out. Has played for Braintree at this level, so he's got experience, but probably not the type of player we're going to use much. 2 strikers, let's start with the worst one, just so we can build our hopes a bit longer. Jonathan Lacy is 2 star ability, 3.5 potential. He is not bad. Decent pace, but not the best accelerator. Okay finisher, good composure, good off the ball. So probably a better advanced forward, yeah. Not a bad player at all, but again, a backup. Scoring 1 in 3 for Hemel last year though, so no complaints on that front. Let's have a look at the star striker though, Dejon Noel Williams. 3-star ability, 4.5 potential. Please be good, or just be pleased, well-balanced attributes. Not sure. Quick, agile, great movement off the ball, good anticipation. All of the core attributes are there, except for finishing and composure. Got a good touch, decent in the air, a decent all-round striker, but I'd like a superstar if I can get one. I honestly believe, looking at this team at the moment, I mean, he's a great impact sub and a great second striker too. If I could get one centre forward who's just like a proper poacher, proper goal scorer at this level, and maybe fill the 2 defensive slots, left back and right centre half, I think we can make the playoffs. But without that, I think we'd probably just fall short. I just want to look at Reggie Young as well, who's out on loan. 2.5-star ability. Not sure why he's out on loan. He's the second best left winger at the club. We can't recall him and he's out for the season. So maybe a loan as a backup left winger, or maybe that's the job for Cerulli this year and then he leaves the club. So that's the squad and the position it's in. Let me know what you think tactically. I think I'm edging towards the 4-3-3 because we've got a couple of good wingers. But maybe if we can get 2 good strikers in, we look at the diamond instead. I just don't know. Definitely holes in the squad defensively. Let's have a quick look to see what our transfer budget is. Nothing, but we've got 350 quid of wage budget to work with, which might get us a couple of loans if we're lucky. If we go to the club info, I think we had an affiliation with Watford. This could be crucial. So, there's an affiliation with Watford that includes sending players on loan. So if Watford and Luton Town could both maybe help us out, that could really help us this season. 1 or 2-star loan players from Watford, if they've got a good young striker about for this level, that could change the save very quickly. Let's go and have a look at our inbox quickly just to get through the rest of the items. No injuries, which is a lovely sign to have. No recurring injuries, which is crucial for a one-club save. As I've mentioned before, throughout the seasons generally, I'm not going to talk a huge amount about the new things such as the data hub, but I'm going to do a season review at the end of every year where we take a great look at it in detail, where we're getting our players, how we're finding our stats and adjusting our team and tactic. But for now, we've got to worry about our first game and a big month building up to it. So I'm going to very quickly place adverts, get recruitment team members in, hopefully get them in place in time to get players before the season. Try and get a decent director of football to help us out, but the season doesn't start till the 14th of August, so we've got 5.5 weeks to prepare, and then we will be back for Maidstone away from home, and hopefully some very good news on the transfer front. If you're looking forward to that and you did enjoy this brief introduction, please do put a thumbs up on the video. Subscribe down below for daily FM22 content from 2 long-term stories. The head coach will be back at 3:30 today for episode 2, our first game in charge at our new club. If you missed the first episode, you can find that up in the eye above. This one will be back at 11:30 tomorrow, and that pattern will continue throughout the beta. 11:30 for this save, 3:30 for the head coach. And then once the full game releases, we'll rotate the 2 stories each day as always. We're also starting our beta save over on Twitch tonight. You can find the link in the eye above there. We start at 6 PM with Derby County, under transfer embargo, in administration, and with a tiny squad. What could possibly go wrong? But a massive thank you for watching this one and getting involved as always. It is greatly appreciated. I hope you're looking forward to it as much as me. I hope we can meet expectations and avoid the sack. We'll find all of that out as we go through the season. I'll see you tomorrow for our first game in charge.